car all the time, and there's nothing more important to me than being fully focused on driving my precious cargo safely. But it's not just about me and my family, it's about everyone out there on the road. And unfortunately, a documentary like this had to be made to bring the knowledge and the awareness to everybody out there so that we can just simply stop doing it. So I invite all of you to get educated, to make a difference, to use the tools that we have in social media to spread the word, make a difference. You know, we have that opportunity to share our personal stories and those of others to really get people to stop doing this. And there were some studies that were done where they thought that it was all about the teenagers. It's not. It's about business commuters. It's about adults. It's about everybody who thinks it can't wait, who feels the need to respond immediately about something important or not important. The bottom line is it can wait, and there's nothing more important than the safety for ourselves and everyone else. I'd like to give a gracious thank you to AT&T and Sprint and T-Mobile and Verizon. And what's really amazing is all these fierce competitors rallied together to make a difference, to join forces and to really spread the word with this documentary. So thank you so much to all of you for that. And I also just want to share that the National Safety Council estimated that there's 100,000 accidents a year that are due to injuries and accidents alone from texting and driving. And sadly, that stat alone isn't enough to get people to stop. So I hope that you join me, I hope that you agree, I hope that you get it. And this documentary is really about educating everyone the consequences of this very dangerous habit. I also, Werner, there's Werner. He's going to join us later on stage. Werner Herzog will be up here to answer questions. You'll also be able to hear some personal stories and get some of your own questions answered. So please stick around after the documentary so you can get some satisfaction with that. But right now I'd just like to invite everybody to sit back, pay very close attention, and know that this is such a serious issue. It's devastating, it impacts everyone. So here we go. Thank you.
Such dire impact from such a small, inconsequential text. On behalf of AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon, I want to thank the participants for allowing us to tell your story. I want to thank Werner. Your powerful storytelling, we hope, will raise awareness with the public around the real dangers of texting and driving. I thank you all for joining this evening, and I urge you to take the pledge never to text and drive. I'd like at this time to invite Werner Herzog up for a few questions and answers. My name is Michelle Kuckelman, and if you are interested in joining this movement and advocating for the cause, find me outside of the reception. Thank you.
It's not easy for me to make any statement, so it's quite a while that I haven't seen the film. So it has moved me as if somebody else had made it. So, but please go ahead with your questions. Yeah.
He wants to know how you were able to go on after making this film.
This kind of film is not easy to make. It's one of those things you do where all the participants become part of your life. So, for example, Xavier is part of my family now. You know, my inner family, Debbie and Megan and Chandler and all of them. But I never asked myself, is it difficult and how do I move on? It's it's very hard to say that, but I'm a working man. I have done quite a few films, and I'm planning to do some other things. But this one is a marker somehow in my life as a filmmaker. I'm kind of a veteran, and this is one of the films where I just stop and take a look inside of myself as well. But I do believe that the way I did it and that I did it, this film was the right choice. And in fact, I am proud of it. So that's all I can say, Debbie. I personally am proud, and that's what's gonna stay with me as well. Yes.
How will the public have an opportunity to see this film?
I do not know exactly what the plans are. It's going to be on internet, and it will be shown in 40,000 high schools across the United States. So it's going to be a lot of young people who are going to see it. And as we have heard, the accidents are not only caused by young people. I mean, they are conspicuous, how much they are texting. And things have taken a different level, which is kind of a shift in paradigm. You see, for example, teenage girls in the schoolyard, and they're sitting around very close to each other, and they text to each other instead of talking, which is very odd for me to see that. There's a schoolhouse nearby where I live, and it seems to go further. That there was one case about which I heard, where a young man caused a fatal accident. He was texting and hit a young boy on a bicycle, and the young boy was killed. He was texting with his girlfriend, but now comes this: the girlfriend was sitting next to him in the same car. So there seems to be a shift, and it's more visible with the teenagers. But of course the dangers are everywhere, and whenever I'm driving and my wife driving, she sees immediately somebody weaving around it and unsteady. You know there's somebody texting, and you come to a stop and you see, yes, there's somebody texting. So it's, but I think the film comes at the right time. The initiative that AT&T took came at the right time, and you can tell from the fact that immediately other phone providers, T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, they immediately understood we have to be a part of this. Yeah. There's Debbie.
I want to know how this message is getting out to the lawmakers or responsible for taking the laws that keep up with technology changes.
Carl, can you help me for a moment?
How is this going to get out to the lawmakers who are going to be responsible for changing the laws, and how are they going to keep up with the technology change?
I think it's different from state to state. Some state legislations have become alarmed by what is going on. Some changes have happened, but very little so far, as far as I'm informed. And what is happening so far is that for even fatalities that have created and caused by texting and driving, you can get away with a ticket, like for parking in the wrong spot. So there's still a complete imbalance. And when we are looking at drinking and driving, of course you can, if you kill somebody, you can end up for life in jail, or normally you would be very severely punished. And I do believe there should be some sort of a balance between drinking and driving and texting and driving. Legislation is always slow, always behind the events. But facts that are established by 100,000 accidents and the statistics skyrocketing, facts always have a normative power. The facts will create norms, but the norms are always lagging behind the facts. There will be something, but it's a big question, and I hope that the film will create some sort of a first immediate awareness. And then let's hope that legislation in every single state in the United States follows suit, if they haven't done anything yet. The lady here is. Okay, and I'll give you my mic in a moment. Yeah. Please go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for making this film and sharing it with us. Personally, it's made a big impact on me, so thank you for doing so. I'd like to know how the film came about. What sparked your desire to make this in the first place?
Oh, there was no desire. I was approached, and I was immediately. It was clear that's something I have to do, and I knew I would be competent to do it because in all my work I've done, and recently 8 films about men and women on death row waiting for their execution. So you have very short moments of time. And you have to immediately very, very deeply connect with people who have created catastrophic, cataclysmic events in families. And I think these films, in a way, were the motivation for those responsible for inviting me to do so. And it was instantly clear, yes, I'd like to do that. And what I also like is that the cases, of course there are many cases, and we had to find the right cases where the participants were prepared to talk to me on camera. What I liked is that this film took me across the heartland of the United States, which I like a lot. So you see, I'm not that fond of East Coast or West Coast, although I live here. The real America occurs in the heartland, and when you are in Bluffton, Indiana, you know this is good, solid country. This is something very, very solid about America. And covering cases like Chandler's in Bluffton or near Bluffton was just a good place for me. I connect to these places. This is
Well, I just want to congratulate you on how well made the film is, because one of the things that, the worst thing I think is for something to be too late, and you're catching us before it's too late, and that's why it's so powerful. Something that seems like not a big deal to so many of us. Well, I'm just going to check my email, I'm just going to see. And you have shown it so well in your documentary that, like, I want to, it's not because it's legislated, that of course is necessary, but we want to change hearts first. You want it to be a willing thing.
That's much more important that people become aware. Just don't do it. It's as simple as that.
And I think that your film beautifully depicts that, and the people that you chose for it, and even in the way that the whole human condition, it wasn't an intent to hurt, to kill, and And the way that you show forgiveness too is just amazing. So it's,
that was Megan. That
she
was Megan Odell. She's here with us. Where's Megan?
very, very powerful.
Sorry, Megan, into some vague distance and you're right in front of me. No, this shows just great human substance that something like this is possible. And yes, it's one of the fine things, but of course the film has made sense, and everybody who has participated in the film makes sense and wrestles some sort of meaning away. One single accident can be prevented, one single, and I'm not speaking of tens of thousands which may be prevented because of the new awareness, but it's one single, and it was worth the whole trouble. Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Werner, for this film. But my question is, you show a lot of the rural areas. Did you, in your research, see any particular areas throughout the country that showed higher percentages of these accidents?
Well, you have to make some sort of a random choice, and Milwaukee is not a rural area. It's a big city, and Vermont actually it was at the outskirts of the capital city, and whereas if we shoot Logan, Utah, yes, it's more rural, and cowboys are there in mountains, and Bluffton, Indiana, very rural, and partially Amish country, very, very solid people. They are the ones, in my opinion, who are the most invulnerable of Americans. If, let's say, we have a catastrophe and a blackout, no electricity for a fortnight, they are the ones who will be the last men standing and plowing their fields, hard plowing men and women who handle the plow with their fists, and they have a horse. And they do not use telephone. You can distinguish their homes immediately among other farmhouses because there's no electrical wire connection to their homes. So, and I really like to see this kind of country. And I doubt that, for example, in Boston, Massachusetts, or in Seattle or San Francisco, you would find easily someone like Megan. They would answer with an attorney, I guess, and do things like that.
Back here.
Yeah.
So what about taking this to the next level where it's not just texting, because I know I'm guilty of texting and driving, but it's also social networking, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I think that is just as being mindful for me as texting.
Well, that's a different debate, and it has to do with a big shift in social behavior,
Right.
in connectivity. But I would be the last one who would tell teenagers don't go on Facebook.
I'm not saying that,
Well,
but while in the car and other things, I mean, I can say that I've done it, and you know, it's not, I think it's just as risky as texting and driving, and it's something that I'm aware of, but I think it's more of a growing trend now that our smartphones are capable to tweet and do anything we want just as fast as it is to text.
Yes, but again, we have to narrow things down to what happens if you're texting and you're driving.
Right.
If you start a wider discussion, which has to happen sooner or later, and it's kind of disquieting. And I like the cowboy who has the last word in the film. Why don't they talk to each other anyway? And I kind of like this as a very last statement. It points a little bit in your direction. There's huge, massive shifts going on.
All right, we have time for one more question. Anyone else?
Back here.
Having seen the impact that this film has had on yourself and on others, do you plan to continue forward with this subject matter, be it more films or television or interviews anywhere?
Not at the moment, because this whole work has to be embedded in something much larger. And the much larger event is that this film is going to 40,000 high schools. And it's beyond my capacity to contact it all and start a campaign of that magnitude. If something like this would continue, and if I'm asked again, would you like to do a sequel to it, I probably wouldn't hesitate to do it. But we should not forget the whole thing is embedded in something much, much bigger than just me being a director. Thank you very much.